Hey guys, my name is Kevin DeConing. My brother and I started a podcast called the Dad Podcast before. We are now switching it to Dual Dad Podcast. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, we realized there were a couple of different versions of Dad Podcast, one being, I'm assuming, based in the UK or the US, and another one based in the UK. We want to separate ourselves from that. So if you go back and take a look at our first two episodes, we do actually refer to ourselves as the Dad Podcast, but we're actually going to switch names, same content, same good material, but we're going to now move it on to Dual Dads. Dual Dads Podcast. So we're really glad you're here. Episode number 3, technically. And that's what we're going to stick with. Episode number 3. We're glad you're here. However you are consuming this, be it watching on YouTube or listening to it wherever you get your podcasts. So, how was your week, Kev?
Well, it was pretty good, actually. It was a little low-key. We did most of the schoolwork that was handed in. We got shit kicked pretty good with the storm last night.
Oh, so bad.
And I helped a buddy build a shed, so my back is sore.
Yeah, and here you are working out.
Yeah, yeah.
For those of you dads, and this is not a guilt trip, for those of you dads that say you can't do it, I beg to differ.
Well, it's 10 o'clock here, and I still got to mix in a workout after this.
Yeah, we're fitting it in, right? You gotta put in the grind.
You got to put in the time.
Put in the time. Absolutely. So, good.
How was your week?
Good week. Just parenting, mostly.
Yeah.
Taking care of our daughter and trying to figure out what I'm doing. I've determined that if you are a dad, and I believe I may have said this on a previous episode, but I'm drawing a blank on it now. If you are a dad that knows exactly what they're doing, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
If you stand there and go, I don't know what I'm doing, you are right on par with where you're supposed to be.
Yes. If you stand there like, what the fuck do I do now?
So,
you're in the right spot. Yeah.
I'm trying to negotiate with a 20-month-old.
No, we don't negotiate with terrorists here. They're always selling. They're salespeople, but they don't stop.
Well, and actually, you know what? That brings up a good topic because I was listening to, I think it was a Zig Ziglar podcast, and he's been known. If you don't know who Zig Ziglar is, I recommend going to look up a bunch of his stuff, which will actually kind of lead into what we're going to talk about in this podcast. But Zig Ziglar actually identified that there's a lot of people out there that say they don't think of themselves as salespeople. And he said, actually, I beg to differ because you've been a salesperson since you were a child. How many times did you try and convince your parents that you needed that cookie?
Oh, I'm just going to stay up for 5 more minutes.
That's right. Just 5. Just 5.
Well, look at our nephew Dominic. I have 5 more minutes to play. 5 more minutes to play.
Yeah.
Okay, 15 more minutes.
Just 15.
Just always negotiating.
And followed up with, here's why you should let me.
Yeah.
Which is a sales pitch.
Yep. This is why I need to stay.
Yeah. Here's why I need this ice cream before supper.
Right.
Which, do you?
Well, dads are the inventor of ice cream suppers. Just have the ice cream for supper.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mom goes out for whatever, night out with the girls or whatever, and it's ice cream suppers.
Oh, you pissed Mama Bear off. She finds that out though. You did what?
It's a secret.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. So, what we want to talk about in this podcast is something that's kind of near and dear to our hearts, especially in the last, I would say, 7 to 10 years. Is that?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
When about 10 years ago is when I know I started actually investing in me a little bit more. Although, don't get me wrong, still investing in my family. Was actually taking the time to make sure that I was taken care of as well. And the way we did this was, and Kevin and I are in the same boat on this, we started reading and listening to material that is actually helpful to help us move forward, whatever forward looks like for you. Now, it doesn't have to be starting a business, although that's kind of the avenue we'd like to take, which is maybe another reason why we're doing this podcast. It's just another way for us to get our names out there. I don't know, but
yeah,
mostly
content,
just
but to help
yeah.
people, right? You got to help guys. We're all in this boat. We're all in the same boat together here.
That's it. So, our main objective, and I'm speaking for you in this case, and feel free to jump in if I'm wrong, but our main objective is to put ourselves in a position where we can actually be where we want to be in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
And
wherever that may be. Yeah. It doesn't, what your version of successful or where you want to be is up to you.
Exactly right.
Right?
Exactly right. I know some people, and they love jobs. They love being an employee. They love being able to go to the same place every day and there's security behind it and all that kind of stuff. Myself personally, although I am in a job right now, I'd like to break away and do my own thing eventually. So I say I'm in a job, and right now I'm on a leave. I'm laid
off. Me too. But it comes with a certain amount of freedom too, though, right? You're not on somebody else's schedule. You get up, you do something you want to do for you and your family. You're not going to make somebody else rich.
Well, and I think one thing that I think when we hear this kind of stuff, we have to think that is long term.
Oh yeah, it's a long time down the road.
Right, and there's a lot of work that has to happen in between to get to that point. But I think a lot of people just think, oh yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, therefore I'm free. No,
yeah. No.
The ones that you hear of being free right now put the time and effort in. And like Gary Vee says, they ate shit.
They ate shit for years. That's a great line. I love that line.
You got to be prepared to eat shit.
Yeah.
To get to where you want to be. So, yeah, I enjoy that every time he says that. Plus, I cringe a little bit because I'm like, oh yeah, right. There's that whole part.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta enjoy it though. If or else, sir, you won't finish. Right,
and there's another thing I heard. You don't have to be great to start, but you got to start to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think it's the opposite. I think they think, well, I have to be really good at something to start anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that.
Heard, and I agree with it, is if you were to start walking to a destination, you may not know exactly what's going to be in front of you or how to get there, but the more you walk, the more you can see what's in front of you. But you won't know that until you start walking.
You got to take the first step, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that we have listened to, and we're going to talk a lot about them in this podcast. Things that have helped us. I think it's even beneficial to talk about things to be aware of, learn from our mistakes. And I will say this, I'm turning 38 this year. And if I would have heard this information when I was 20, 21, although you may be listening to this as a new dad at the age of 20, 21, going, how can I do this? If you really want to, you can do it.
I was 26 when I had my first one.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and we were saying this just before we started recording, is if I would have known this information at the age of 20 or 21, whatever, I would have done things very differently to set myself up very differently than where I am now.
Set yourself up for future success, and I'm not going to say make it an easier lifestyle, but a more comfortable lifestyle.
Down the road, it is going to be easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in the middle, or while you're building, while you're improving you will have to do things that you're not ready to do. Like get up early, maybe to listen to a podcast or read a book or do a workout, or stay up late to listen to a book or a podcast like ours.
And do a workout.
And do a workout, right? So that might be the sacrifice you have to make to get to where you want and need to be. Is sacrificing sleep, knowing that your
Oh,
child is going to be up early tomorrow.
yes. Yep.
Yep. But it's like you said, it's 10 o'clock here. We're recording right now, and I might be tired tomorrow, but it's something that I think is going to help a lot of people. So let's do this.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah. So the question I have for you is, did you like reading growing up?
No, I have dyslexia, so reading for me is very frustrating.
In what way?
I miss sentences, I miss words. Sometimes the letters are upside down. I'll skip down, like I'll read a sentence or a line, and then I'll skip 3 or 4 of them, and I'll be so confused, and I got to go back and read the whole thing over again. And it was really frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. But back then, they didn't call it that. They called it a learning disability. Yeah. So they just said, well, he's a little bit slow, and they put you in a special class.
A special reading class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and back then, and I mean, it could be the same today. Obviously, I don't know because I'm not in this position. But back then, if you were in a learning disability class, you were made fun of too.
Depends how big you were. Yeah.
Well, that's true. That's true. At 6'2" and 270.
A lot of people acted out though, right? Because it is a different class.
True. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
But I will never forget this. I had a grade 10 math teacher tell me one time. I raised my hand and I said, I don't understand what you're teaching me. And she said, pretend you understand. And so I said, well, let's pretend I passed then. Like, it's your job to make me understand.
Just give me an A.
Right? Let's just pretend I pass. Sure.
If my mom asks, I'm awesome.
I did not pass that class.
No.
No.
No. Well, and I think if we listen to any information from, let's say, Robert Kiyosaki, or actually, you know what? If you go on any form of social media right now, anybody who is considered successful actually speaks very little about education, which I find interesting.
Well, there's a difference in education and schooling.
That's right. That's right. And I love the saying that your education, and I think this is actually in Think and Grow Rich, if I remember correctly, because I was listening to it the other day. Your education should actually start when your school ends.
Yeah, that's when life starts.
That's right. But I think a lot of people think it's the other way. They think, oh, I'm done school. I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, I made it.
That's right. Oh, I don't have to worry about studying or anything. Well, unfortunately, the way that school's set up, it's not set up to help you succeed.
Nope, you're set up to be a worker.
That's right. And hey, if that's you, all the power to you. There's no judgment on this end.
I am a worker right now.
Yeah.
I work in a gravel pit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And some people love the security. Perfect. You know, and it's one of those things that if you are happy doing that, perfect.
Yeah.
Do it. Absolutely perfect. If you feel like there is something that is just missing, though, this is where you might have to step into another gear and find your passion.
Find something that you want to do for you.
That's right.
Right? Because you do everything for everybody else, especially if you're a dad.
Oh.
Right? Yep. Especially if you're a dad, you just do everything for everybody else.
That's your job.
I spent my weekend building a shed. You get home, and then the kids want you to play Barbie. You're like, okay, I can't feel anything, but let's do it.
Yeah, right on.
No, first, and then I gotta go fix the sump pump. Great.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then Dad, I need help. Oh, okay, let's go. You're so tired and cross-eyed, but you do it.
Yep.
Yep.
You put in the grind.
You wouldn't have it in your way either, because I was talking to a buddy of mine. His kids have moved out. He's like, my house is too quiet. I don't know what to do.
It's weird because I think as a dad, and I mean I'm a relatively new dad, so I obviously can't speak for every part of every phase, but I think there's a part where you're just like, man, I wish I could just have a day,
Yeah.
just a day where it's
Just
just back
just
to what I'm used to.
just a day.
Just give me a day, and then 2 days,
Yeah.
and then
And then all of a sudden you're in Mexico for a month. You're like, what
that's
the hell
right.
happened?
Hey, margaritas, whatever.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
But if you go too long, then you're like, man, I wish I was back to the way it was.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm in a position, like I said in previous episodes, my daughter's going to turn 20 months tomorrow, and so I'm in the toddler stage. It's very busy, and I'm repeating myself what seems like 45 times. And it's something simple as no, don't put that in the dog water. No, don't put that in the no, not in the. Why did you put your
Don't.
foot in the dog water? And
Yeah.
then she'll look at me and go, I'm doing it while I'm looking at you.
I'm gonna do it again. Hey,
What
watch
are you
this.
gonna do?
Watch this. I can put my hand and foot in there.
Oh, look at the toys going in. Oh, great. We're gonna have to wash all of those now.
Does Daddy's phone float?
It does
Yeah.
now.
Oh, it's great.
But the repetition of don't. Oh, why? Well, just to go anywhere. Like today,
Yeah.
we were out and we had to get back to the car because we're like, we need to go home and have supper, and that was at least a 45-minute trek.
Right. Yep. Oh yeah.
It's like, hey, oh look, I gotta go look at these rocks, and you're like, no, come this way. And the stare, I think, is what gets me the
Yeah.
most.
I'm
I'm gonna stare at you, and just no.
You're on my schedule.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it.
Oh yeah, you're on my schedule.
Oh, yeah.
But even having a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, there's zero sense of urgency ever, unless it's something they want to do.
Yeah.
Like, put your shoes on, let's go. Okay. And then you sit there for another 20 minutes, you're like, are we leaving? Like, when are we going? Are we leaving yet? Oh, hold on, Dad. I just got to do one more thing. Oh, hold on. I gotta get to the truck. Dad, I have to pee. Okay. All right. Go pee.
You've been sitting there for 20 minutes. You didn't have to go 20 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, but I wouldn't change it for the world, though.
Well, and you're gonna miss it when it's gone.
Of course, yeah. Like even I missed the 20-month stage, right? Everywhere you go, you're packing for a vacation. No, I need the diaper bag. I need the stroller. I need this. I need this. I need this. I need snacks. I need this. Right now, I just tell the kids, let's go in the truck.
Yeah, right.
And I say, okay, let's go.
All right, we're gone. And they bring what they want.
Yep.
Oh,
and then Dad.
What's that?
And then they say, Dad, we're thirsty. Could we go get a Slurpee?
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Oh, we're not getting Slurpees.
What about a cookie from Tim Hortons?
Yeah. Oh, it's nonstop. Dad, can we get a cookie? Can we get a donut? Can we get this? Can we get this?
You're getting salespeople.
Ooh, sales is right.
And here's why I need
a cookie. I didn't know I needed one until we got here.
Right.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. There was another thing I was thinking too. Oh yeah, when you're packing for a vacation, like you said, which is a good analogy because you really are. We were going for, I think, 2 hours, and I think we packed as if we were going to be leaving for 3 days. But you always forget something.
Yep, and it's the most important thing at the time.
The stroller. That's what we forgot today.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, the stroller. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And of course, we didn't realize until we got there.
Open the back door. You're like, oh, I thought, did I? Oh no.
No, we were still driving.
Oh.
Almost there, and then I was like, oh yeah, wait, we forgot the stroller.
Perfect. Yeah. Now what? We've come too far.
Oh, and I mean, you debate on going back, but
You do.
there was a debate saying, is it worth going back or not?
If we go home, we're not leaving again, though. If we go home, we're not leaving the house again.
I'm staying there. Well, and being that the stroller is an important part, I was debating on going to get it and coming back because stroller is a big thing.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. It holds a lot of the stuff, not just the kid.
It's a great holder of things: coats, purses, diaper bags, just everything. Groceries you didn't know you were buying.
That's right.
I guess we're going to the mall. Let's grab the stroller then, because we're going to buy some stuff here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the whole COVID thing and the fact that I'm staying at home right now and taking care of Ava while my wife works, we've gotten into a routine where we go for a walk every day. And because we have 2 dogs, and right now we have to take them individually, the second walk is usually her in a stroller, and therefore the stroller's in my garage, not in the car. There you go.
So the stroller was right where you left it.
Oh, I knew exactly where it was.
Oh, yeah, you did, didn't you? Yeah.
I knew exactly where it was.
Yeah, it was right where you left it.
I could even, if you were to come over to my house, I could even tell you in the garage where it is.
You were walking right to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But it wasn't in the car where I needed it.
Wasn't in the car.
Nope. Nope. So, yeah, good times. You will always forget something.
It's bound to happen.
Mm-hmm. Now, the other question I have for you, or another question, is at first you said you were not very fluent at reading. I'm in the same boat. I found it boring, and I was in the same boat where I'd read a bunch of lines, but my brain would go out to what I call left field, and I would just, or my hands are going into the right field, but I'd think about something else more important at the time. Meanwhile, my eyes are still going down the page. Mm-hmm. And by the time I get to the bottom of the page, I realize I hadn't remembered.
So what did I read? I read all the words, but I don't know what I read.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So then I have to go back to where I remember reading last, start there, and try and focus on the page.
On what you're reading.
I've read the same page 6 times. It's not happening. I'm done.
For me in school it's bad because when you're doing reading, each kid reads a different line. You count the kids and then you count down the lines to where you are so you can proofread that.
So you sound like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, did you ever do that one?
I've done that, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mastered that one in school.
Well, and what's interesting now, because when I'm normally at work, I'm normally teaching adults, is if I have to be very, very aware that people feel uncomfortable reading anything off the screen, because just like in school, they're afraid of, if I misread something, somebody's going to make fun of me. Therefore, I won't even try it.
Yeah, they're very self-conscious of reading.
Right. So then, as a facilitator, if I get somebody to read the slide that I have up in the moment, then they're going to look at it and go, okay, I'll read it, but I'm so focused on not messing up, I'm not actually reading or understanding the words that I'm reading.
Right.
It's interesting. Yeah. And that's just the way it started at school.
It's the way the brain works, though, right? You focus on every word, and you don't know what you read.
Exactly. Now, the follow-up question to that is, do you find now that you do a little bit more reading as long as it's something that you're really interested in?
Well, so I don't read a lot, so I listen to audiobooks. I don't really read. I read some of the school stuff the kids have, but I have them more read to me, but I listen to more audiobooks than I read anything.
Well, and I find audiobooks and podcasts are a lot more convenient. Yeah, because listen to it while I'm doing something.
You can listen to it while you're doing something.
Exactly.
Like cleaning or walking the dogs and the kids or driving or working out, right? You can listen.
That's right.
But if you're reading a book, that's all you can do.
And sometimes that's not a bad thing, to slow down and just have a book in front of you and just try and go through it. The reason I bring it up is because we're in the same boat in a lot of ways, in the sense that reading is just boring. However, I have found recently that if it is a book that I am seriously interested in, I can actually stay focused on
I do want to read Theron Fleury's Playing with Fire.
it. Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard that's a really good. I heard that's a really good one.
Yeah, he goes into his history about drugs and alcohol and stuff while playing hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be a good one, actually.
I think I've heard it's really good.
Yeah. What was the first audiobook or book that you read that changed your world?
It was called Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki.
Mm-hmm.
It changed my way of thinking, my perspective. Yes, that one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It changed my perspective entirely, my train of thought, just my overall thought process.
What was one of the biggest takeaways?
You don't have to work for money.
Mm.
Yeah.
What? How else do you do it then? And I say this because I can see somebody listening to this going, yeah, okay, but how do you do it?
Have your money work for you is the easiest way I can say it, but the easiest way for me to explain it would be just read the book.
It's true. It's true.
You'll read the book different than I listen to the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and the quadrants are right here.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, and I've never read the book. I've only listened to the book or the audiobook.
But even if you saw a picture of this, you could visualize what he's saying, right? And he talks about, now in the video here, it is a little bit backwards, but he talks about E being an employee, S being self-employed or small business, right? Doctors, dentists, lawyers, they fall into this category. Business owners are where you are actually running a business compared to this one. Business owners would be 500 people or more as employees. And then investor, where you're using, like Kevin said, you're using your money to make you more money. So really, really good book.
Yeah.
Really
good.
What
about you? What was the first book that really opened your eyes?
Well, I will say that since I can remember, I've had anxiety, and it's always kind of consumed my world. And to some degree, it still does, just not as much because I've been able to work on it as much as I have. But I still remember in 2009, I walked into a store. Up here in Canada, it's called Chapters. I believe it's different around the world. But in Canada, it's called Chapters. It's a bookstore. Indigo is another word for it. And I went to the self-help section, and I found this book here called Anxiety Free. And this one book basically acted, when I was reading it, it was like it was talking to me. It was incredible how it happened.
That's amazing.
Yeah, especially the part about panic attacks and and the generalized anxiety. It helped me to understand that first of all, what anxiety that I have. I think that was the biggest thing, is to understand that I have panic attacks. And I remember my first one being in 2009, which is usually what was the part that pushed me to be like, okay, I got to do something. I think that was my very, very first straight on panic attack.
Yes.
But when I read the chapter on panic attacks, I still remember I looked at my wife and I said, I swear he was following me when he wrote this chapter.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's like that chapter specifically. Now the whole book is like that, but that chapter specifically,
sorry,
was basically like he was following me saying, here's how you're acting. And I'm like, this is crazy.
What a life changer, eh?
How do you know that out of a book?
Yeah.
It's not like you're even having a conversation like you and I are here. It's a book, and it's like, you know what's going on in my head.
And to write it the way that he wrote it.
Oh.
That is like talking to you as a person.
It was crazy. And I still remember that feeling that I read when I read it the first time. And I was like, are you kidding? I will say this, that one book has helped me do more in the last 10 years than I've done in the last 28 before that.
Yeah, yeah. That's so cool.
When it comes to anxiety specifically, it's held me back from doing a lot of things that I would probably enjoy.
You look when we were growing up,
Mm-hmm.
right? You wouldn't go on a ride because it was what if I hurt myself, or what if, or what if.
What ifs?
Like you wouldn't jump off a bridge in Prince Edward Island called Stanley Bridge
Mm-hmm.
because what if?
Well, a lot of people were doing now. To be fair, it's not like the Golden Gate Bridge. Like it's not like you're.
No.
It's not like you're trying to kill yourself.
No, no, no.
Let's be clear. While we're explaining, like you and I know what it is, but let's be clear about what it is.
It's like a diving board kind
That's
of.
pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a high diving board. But
Yeah.
you're jumping into the ocean.
Yeah, it's no, I didn't even think about that.
We're not suicidal. Let's just go there.
No.
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
No.
People there do it for fun all the time.
Yeah.
And when we were growing up, we were one of them. Yeah. But eventually I worked up and did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that bad.
Oh, it never is.
No.
Never is. In fact, there's a saying that I read, and I think it was Mark Twain that said it, if I'm not mistaken, but he says, I've had a horrible life, and 90% of it did not come true.
Oof.
Right?
Well, that speaks to you, hey?
Because you come up with all these different scenarios in your head of what could happen that don't. And I would say that 90% is probably higher, but let's say it is 90%. The 10% that actually did happen, which is probably less, you dealt with it better than you actually thought that you could.
Right. That's
right?
insane.
And but here's where I realize I'm at now, and I understand that 37, turning 38 here in the next couple months is young. But I realize that I have come so far with improving myself from this area that it's my responsibility to help others. Because I'll tell you right now, as of today, I have the tools to be anxiety free. I have zero anxiety in my body right now.
Good for you.
Yeah. And it started, and I point down here because this is what the book is. It started with that book. It's not the end goal, but it started with that book because it helped me to understand what anxiety I have, what anxiety is, what anxiety I have, and what I can do to get me to that point of fixing it.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Because even getting married, like I'll admit, the whole ceremony part just completely terrified me.
Oh, you were stressed out.
I was a mess. In fact, we made it so that unless you were mom or dad, grandma, grandpa, brother or sister, you weren't there. Like there was a total, if you include all the nieces and nephews, there was a total of 23 people there, including the pastor.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I just had so much anxiety built up that I was like, if there's any more than that, I'm gonna freak out and it's gonna be too much. But this book, there's things in this book that actually help me get past that point.
I find that if I'm having like just a depressed or stressful day, I'll just grab a kid and go for a cuddle.
There you go.
And it just melts everything away. You get a good perspective of what is actually important.
Nothing else matters.
Yeah.
It's so true.
I just grab one of your kids and just wrap them up. But soon they're not going to want to cuddle, so I'll give them as I can.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Well, and right now, if Ava gives me a kiss, I make a huge deal about it.
Right.
Yeah. She'll be like, and I'll be like, oh my.
Oh, you did it.
Oh, I can't believe I got a kiss, right?
You did
now,
it.
It's a game where she's like, okay, let's do it again, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
She's helping me more than I'm helping her, I'm sure. Because to her, it's a game. But yeah, all that stress and anxiety just goes away.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I would say, too, that I was flying out of the Edmonton Airport, the Edmonton International Airport, and there's a bookstore there as well. And I just randomly decided to pick up this book here, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is the first, The Cash Flow Quadrant.
Yeah, that's a great book too.
It is. if you are going to look into these books, which I can have a link in the description if people want to click on that to get these books, and they'll take you right to Amazon. Start with this book is my recommendation, because this book explains who his rich dad is and who his poor dad is, because it's not who you think.
Yes. Yeah. I would start with this one first.
Yeah. This puts the foundation in to Cash Flow Quadrant, and his third one, which I believe is Guide to Investing.
Which is also a good one.
It is.
Yeah.
I got to re-listen to that one. I have it as an audiobook. I got to re-listen to it.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah, it's a good one. So I recommend, and again, we'll put links in the description and the show notes wherever you're getting this. We'll put the link in there so that if you want any of these books, you can just go ahead and click on them, and they'll be. So, yeah.
Are you reading or listening to any good books right now?
I just actually finished a podcast today, actually, called The School of Greatness. Have you heard of it?
Nope, never heard of it. Nope.
It's by a gentleman called Lewis Howes, and he's been doing a podcast now for, I think I'm going to guess and say 5 to 10 years, guessing.
Oh, yeah.
Guessing.
Yeah.
But he has some of the biggest names on this podcast right now because he's built it into what he has. He used to be a professional NFL player and an entrepreneur, and he's just had some struggles in his life. He talks a lot about how he was poor and living on his sister's couch to now being the name that he is. He's had names like Bob Proctor. Sorry, my dog's itchy. You could probably hear the collar in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Hashtag quarantine. Hashtag work from home.
I heard one the other day was hashtag quarantine teacher.
There you go.
I was like, yeah, there I am.
Never heard that one.
No, me neither.
That's good.
Quarantine teacher.
There you go. So he had Bob Proctor on there. Bob Proctor is another one we could talk about in this podcast because he speaks a lot of truth. He had Robert Kiyosaki, the authors of the 2 books that we just showed. He also had Gary Vaynerchuk.
Oh, I like Gary.
Yeah. On his podcast, and I just finished listening to it. The one I listened to today, though, and it actually quite surprised me, Kevin Hart.
Oh, I like Kevin Hart. Very smart man.
He is a very smart man. And a lot of people see him as a comedian / actor, but he's actually a very smart business person as well.
Yes, he is. And
he actually just wrote a book, and it's only available on Audible that I downloaded, and I'm just about to listen to that one.
Oh, let us know how it goes. Let us know how that one goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I enjoyed the podcast a lot, and I could put the link in the show notes as well for that podcast. But if you're not listening to School of Greatness, I recommend listening to School of Greatness. It's a really good podcast.
I'll listen to that one next.
Yeah, it's on Spotify or iTunes, wherever you're getting your podcasts. It's on all the major ones. I get mine on Spotify, which is actually where we are too. We're actually on Spotify, so it's interesting because you actually hear a lot of how people struggle as successful people from the beginning.
They eat shit for years. Yeah.
To get to where they are. But what I like about successful people like, let's say, Gary Vaynerchuk, or I don't know if you've heard of him, Kev, but his name is Jay Shetty.
No, I don't think I have.
He's been on the podcast too. They both were in a very bad place. They've both done everything they needed to do to get to where they are now. And the whole purpose in what they're doing is to be happy. It's not to be rich. It's not to be what anybody would consider successful, even though they both are. We should be living our days being happy.
That's the biggest thing you can do here, dads, is just do what you can to be happy.
Now, my question is, what does that look like?
Depends on the person.
Exactly.
Everybody's level of happiness or success is different, right?
Yeah. A lot of people think, I need a lot of money, but you hear it time and time again. There's people who make $800 million a year that are depressed.
Yeah.
It's not the money that'll make you happy.
No, no, you gotta be happy without money.
That's right. That's right. So I posed that question to myself, saying, okay, if I could wake up every day and be the happiest I can be, what would that look like? And when I've actually posed that question to myself, I have to give it a serious thought, because I'm like, oh, there's a lot of things that I would need to work on to get to that level of happiness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not where I want to be yet, but at least knowing what that looks like.
You're starting to, though.
Oh yeah. It's getting to that point. But had I not listened to these podcasts, audiobooks, YouTube videos is another good one, where people are putting out all this content for free, except for audiobooks. But I mean, podcasts are free. This is free, right? It's free information that help people get to where they are. And had I not listened to all this, I would not be thinking the way I am now.
No, if I didn't take advantage of, actually, our cousin John told me to listen to it, and I'm thankfully did, because and the information is out there for you to learn at your own pace.
Exactly.
Learn how to be happier.
Mm-hmm. And I'm a big believer that you're meant to get the information that you're going to get at the time that you're meant to get it.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like a lot of words. But it's what I'm realizing as I go through this. If I would have received some of this information, even on the podcast that I heard today, if I would have received the information that Kevin Hart and Lewis Howes was talking about today, even 2 years ago, I would not have appreciated it the same way that I appreciated it today, because I wasn't in that mindset.
No, you weren't, and you have to be ready to listen.
Yeah.
The second you think you know everything, you don't know anything.
The most successful people are the most open-minded.
Yep.
If you like how you said that, if you think you know everything, you actually know nothing.
Yep, you're 2 steps behind.
That's right. Which is why I love the way that Robert Kiyosaki says that the most successful people in school struggle in life.
Yes.
Financially.
Yep.
Because they think they know everything.
They know everything, right? They were so successful.
I got a degree.
They know everything.
I got a degree, but he actually refers to a PhD as poor, helpless, and depressed.
Yeah.
Poor, helpless, and depressed. You have a degree, but what are you going to do?
Interesting way to look at it, hey?
Yeah. You put all the money, all the time, everything into this degree, but if a new idea or somebody comes up with something that might work better, I've seen it time and time again, where there's a lot of smart people that would be like, no, that's not going to work because of whatever reason, instead of actually taking a look and saying, well, how could it work?
Yeah. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
That's it. And just tweaking the words.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah. Instead of I can't afford it, how can I afford it?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
What do I have to do to afford it?
What can I do to afford it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Words mean a lot.
Right now, I'm listening to 10X by
Grant Cardone.
Grant Cardone.
Yeah, the 10X rule.
Yeah, 10X rule. That's a good one.
That is a good one. What's your biggest takeaway?
Probably, I'm not doing enough. There's always more you can do.
I know. I've listened to the book because I have it on Audible as well. But can you tell the listeners what you mean by that?
If you think you need $10, you probably need $100.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you're doing probably 10% of what you can do, you should probably be doing 100% of what you can do.
Times it by 10.
Times it by 10. 10x it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's an amazing book. His energy is off the charts.
And he narrates it.
He narrates himself, yeah.
So you get the passion of him writing the book in the Audible.
Yeah, I'm just probably, I think I'm about 1/3 in or about a quarter way in, so I'm just starting it. But
okay,
yeah.
And that's the way he starts, is saying, whatever you think you need to do, you got to times it by 10.
Yeah.
Get to where you really want to be.
That's amazing. His energy's off the chain.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But it's somebody who's already done what he's actually telling others to do.
Yes. Yep.
It'd be like
he wouldn't
saying, I want to buy a condo. Here's how you go buy a condo. Complex, not just one condo, but the actual building. But I've never bought a condo building.
Yeah.
So you're not going to take my word for that.
No.
It's just like if we started this dad podcast and we're not dads.
Yeah. What do these guys know?
They're not going to help me. They're not going to tell me anything.
No.
They don't have the experience I need. Right? So at least by us saying, okay, well, I have one daughter, you have two, right? We're planning on more. So we have some experience. We may not have as much as others, but that's why we want to bring on guests.
And we have different experiences. And if you have questions, fire them through, because we'd love to answer.
Yep. We're gonna put our new email in the description as well, so that you can actually email us directly, and we'll respond. You're sending them right to us.
There's no dumb question.
Nope.
We can leave it anonymous.
Yeah, sure.
If you need to know something or want to know something, we'd love to help you.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if we can set it up to do like a Q&A. Like if we got enough questions, we can do like a dad Q&A and answer what we could.
Let's take a look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If people were be able to reach out to us and say, here's kind of what I'm thinking. I have this question. And then if we get enough questions, we can do like a Q&A.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just thought of that.
Sorry, I keep changing around. I'm in my garage here and it's
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kids are sleeping in the house though, so I don't want to talk too loud.
No, and I'm interrupting your workout.
Yeah.
Again.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah. We're helping people. What other book or podcast sticks out to you that you can think of that people should listen to or read if they're reading?
Well, I did like the E-Myth Revisited.
Yeah.
That one was a really good one. Yeah. It's not very long. It's a good listen though.
Can you give a summary of what it is?
I'd have to go back and listen to it, but he explains like the electronic myths and stuff like that. Like he explains what he's done periodically. Like it's a good listen.
Yeah, but if I remember that book correctly, and I'm about halfway through, it's how he built a business.
Yeah, and it takes it through, like dumbs it down nicely for you.
He does.
That's an easy way to say it. It dumbs it down nice.
And that's the way I need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he doesn't BS you. He gives it to you straight. I like Gary.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
He's good. The one that we were also talking about too is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
That's a great one. Yeah, is that T. Harv Eker?
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't know T. Harv Eker, you got to know T. Harv Eker.
His energy is awesome too. He's just a great speaker.
He talks a lot about the spiritual side of things too, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, most successful people that you hear from talk about the spiritual side of things, not just the physical. The fact that we're spiritual beings, we're energy, all that kind of stuff. And that people who are not successful just focus on what's in front of them.
Usually what everybody else is doing wrong.
That's usually, yeah. And that's the negative side, unfortunately. Actually, and that's another thing to keep in mind as well. And again, I wish I would have known this at the age of 19 or 20, is if you take a look at your 5 closest friends or family that you hang out with the most, you could pretty much see where you're going to be successfully, financially, health-wise, mentally in the next 5 years.
Yes. Yeah.
You are going to be number 6. If you take a look at the 5 closest friends, you're going to be number 6 in that group. Exactly where they are.
It's amazing. I wish I knew that.
Oh, things would have changed.
I'd be a different spot.
Right. But here's the thing: there may be some even family members, and I can think of some that may not have the same vision as we would have, that may not understand or tell you that you're doing something wrong. That
It's just, if it's not their way, then it's wrong.
So here's what Steve Harvey says, and I love this quote. Steve Harvey actually has this series on YouTube right now called Motivated. Really good. It's basically him talking to his audience after the Steve Harvey show that he was recording. But he basically said that if you're seeing the vision in your mind, it's because God gave it for you to do, not for anybody else. Nobody can't see what's going on in your mind because it's not meant for them. It's meant for you.
Right.
And when he said that, I'm like, no kidding. So as much as you try and explain it to somebody else, they're not going to get it because they didn't have the same vision as you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you get that vision and you get that sense of, you know what? Yeah, this is what I got to do. This is where my path is meant to be. You could be potentially talked out of it. And if it is where you want to be, you're going to have to overcome those people.
Naysayers, we'll call them.
Mm-hmm.
But even with parenting, you'll find people tell you you're doing things wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. It's the way you want to do it. Nobody teach you how to parent your kid.
Well, and I think part of the reason they're telling you they're wrong is, one, because it's the way society says it's supposed to be done, and two, it may be the way that they did it.
Yeah.
But again, is there a different, better way?
Right. Is there a different way that you want to do it?
And not every kid is the same. In fact, every one of them is different.
No kid is the same.
Right? You can speak to this more than I can. You have two kids in the same house, very different.
Same house, same parents, same growing up, same everything, just completely different kids.
Everything's different, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they get along quite well.
They do.
They are very different people.
It's quite amazing because you have to treat them the same but different.
That's it.
Yeah. But you got to be consistent though.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one big thing.
Yeah. Well, and it might be hard to explain to, and again, I'm not there yet. Our plan is to eventually be there, but we want to get to a point where I may allow one of my kids to do something because it's what they need, and be able to tell the other person, the other kid, this is what they need, but it's not what you need.
Right.
And again, you're going to speak to this more than I can, but they all want the same things.
They want it to be fair.
That's right.
Right? That's what they want. They want it just to be fair.
Mm-hmm. And you might have to, as dad, you might have to explain to them with mom, but
life isn't fair.
Life isn't fair, and you may get things that they might not get, or vice versa. Like, we are in a position, dads, as parents, to set them up to understand that not everything is going to go the way that they think it should go,
or the way you want it to go.
And I think it's bad because we're in a position in society where, if I like the way Gary Vaynerchuk says it, because we're giving out 8th place medals.
Oh, that's so good.
Isn't it though? Yeah, because we're giving out 8th place medals, we're not actually teaching anybody that you might fail or lose this time, but that just means you have to put in more work to get to where you need to be.
Right. Look what happens as a kid if you lost a soccer game or a hockey game. You'd bust your ass because you'd be sad.
That's right.
I don't want this to happen again. I hate losing.
I hate that.
Now it's, here, you got a medal. You can just show up. You just, hey, I won. I got a medal.
And I earned it.
Yeah. Oh, did I ever?
And it may not have happened at the time that I thought it should, but I earned it. And it's not. As opposed to, I could run, but I'm going to get a medal either way, so.
That's what it is, though, right? Kids are smart.
Oh, like that, they're not going to do more work than they have to.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
They get a medal either way.
That's it. So Yeah, we were talking about T. Harv Eker, The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, how it's
Yes.
spiritual. I actually really like in that book, he talks about affirmations, and I love the way he explains it too, because he's like, they sound hokey, but he's like, I'd rather sound hokey and be rich than be cool and poor.
Yes.
So when you say these affirmations to yourself, like, I know one of them for sure is I'm an excellent money manager, and my inner world controls my outer world, that kind of stuff. And if you say these things to yourself enough, you then start to believe it, and you start to act accordingly.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's the person you talk most to in the entire world is you.
That's it.
Right? You talk to yourself more than you talk to anybody else.
Yeah.
Be
And
conscious of how you talk to yourself.
the question I would have is, if you could set up a speaker to your thoughts so that everybody would hear what you were saying to yourself, most people, and I truly believe this, most people would be sent to the mental institution.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And you would be told, don't be so rude to that guy. Like, if they didn't know it was you talking to yourself, why are you being so rude?
Why are you gonna talk like that?
Right? But that's how you talk to yourself, though.
And yet we get mad at ourselves and other people for talking to other people like that. Yet we justify it for ourselves. Like, it doesn't.
No, we're fucked.
So it starts in here.
It does, 100%.
But we're not taught that.
No.
Right? And I think that's why it's so important that your education has to start once school is done, or even while you're in school, because school is set up for us to basically just do what we're told, not to move ahead and grow. So actually, I heard a stat as well that the average person, and again, the number could be higher or lower, so the average person reads 1 to maybe 2 books a year. How many books do you think a CEO reads?
I know the answer.
You know the answer? Yeah. It's 6 or 7 a month.
It's 52 books a year. That's 1 a week.
That's right. So
yeah.
While most people are spending time watching TV or movies, which, hey, love them, right? We talked about on the last episode, our guilty pleasure is sports.
Yeah.
Now that sports are on their way back, it's got to take some willpower for me to be like, okay, I can have sports on in the background.
Right. But I should read this book.
And still read this book.
That's exactly, yeah. It scores! The book goes flying.
And as I was saying,
right, back to what I was doing.
So it takes a lot of willpower, but if you're actually in a position where you want to grow, you want to get better, you're the only one that can do it. Nobody else can do it for you.
So. But don't be afraid to ask for help either.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
You're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to help yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, I also like the money management system that they have when he talks about the 6 jars and dividing your money up into the 6 jars. I was doing it for a while, and when I looked into the accounts, I actually noticed I had actually had more money at that point than I ever have before I did it, and it was actually allocated. So I'm not going to spoil it for you because the book actually explains very well on how to actually divide the money. But it is Dave Ramsey is actually another good one too, and he talks about money management and stuff, which is what my wife and I are doing right now, and it talks about a budget, and I hate that word.
Yeah.
I hate the word budget because when I think budget, I think I'm locked in. I can't spend.
Restricted.
Right. So another way that it was recommended in this course that we are taking is it's not a budget, it's a financial freedom plan. And when you reword it like that, they're like, okay, so if I watch what I'm spending my money on now, I'll have more money later to be able to spend it on what I want.
I like that financial freedom plan instead of a budget.
Right. And
that sounds a lot better, right? It's power of words, right? Power of words again.
That's it. Power of words. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we'll have all these different books and stuff as Amazon links in our description. But there's so much material out there. One, I think that we would be hard pressed to forget, of course, is the Bible. There is a lot of information that I heard this on a video the other day, and I was like, huh, because it got me thinking that whether you're religious or not, the Bible is a list of stories of things people did 5,000 years ago, and they're things that we're trying to do today. But they're things that people did 5,000 years ago, why it didn't work, and how we can learn from the mistakes.
Yeah.
So again, whether you're religious or not,
I am not.
A lot of information that is valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you were going to say something?
I was just saying I'm not a religious person, but you can call it God, you can call it the universe, you can call it spiritual, you can call it whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yep. And I truly believe that we're not alone. There is somebody helping us, be it the universe, God, whatever you call it. And again, ask for help. Ask for help, and look at the help that's already out there.
Yes.
So it's like here we're on here trying to help dads be better dads, and I don't know if it's because ours wasn't really around, so that's why we started. I don't know. I'm just kind of speaking out loud right now, but dads, we hold a lot of value.
They truly do, right? It's amazing on how much value a dad holds in a child's life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's especially with daughters, and I don't have sons, but I imagine sons it's a different bond, right?
Yeah, I believe that too.
Yeah, but just the absolute uncontrollable need to have you as a dad in their life is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary for everybody. So the ones that leave because they got freaked out. Sorry, guys, I'm going to be blunt when I say this. It's not an excuse.
No.
It's not an excuse.
No.
Every one of us is afraid. If you go into this and you don't have a level of fear, panic, worry, anxiety, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. You're going to be excited, but you're going to be scared.
That's it.
Right? Because then you're like, oh shit, now what?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. And so that's why we wanted to make a podcast on, of course, you're there to take care of your family, you're there to take care of your kids, you're there to work for the household, support everything, absolutely. But make sure you're taking the time to better you.
It will make your kids happier to see you happy.
Absolutely. And they're going to see what you're doing, and I guarantee you, even though I'm not in this position right now, I guarantee you they're going to be like, hey, Dad, what are you doing? And you're just like, oh, I'm just reading a book.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I'm going to do that.
I should probably read this book too.
Yeah. If Dad's reading it, maybe I should read it.
And they're little mirrors, right? They follow you.
And mine right now is a sponge, so I even have to be careful with what I say.
Mine know adult words. They don't know how to use them unless you use them correctly.
Your ringtone is a swear.
Most of them, yeah. And a couple of them, yeah.
The fact that your kids don't swear more always amazes me.
Well, they're good kids.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. Know what they can and can't do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh man. So anyway, I think unless there's something that we missed, I think this is a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yep. So again, we're called the Dual Dad Podcast. We'll put our our new email. We're going to create a new email for our account here. We'll put it in the description of the YouTube channels as well as in the show notes. If you have any questions at all, you want to reach out to us, feel free. We both have Facebook accounts and stuff as well. We can also add that if you want. And there's multiple ways to reach us. We're out here to help you dads because, I mean, again, we wish we had this help when we started. So.
It's true. If you need anything, just let us know. If you have a question, just hit up our email or whatever. We're not that hard to get a hold of.
No.
And we'd love to talk to you.
Absolutely. In fact, if you want to be a guest on our podcast, let us know. And if we can get you on here, we will. Absolutely.
We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't have to be anything specific. If it's just something that you wish you would have known as a dad, that's the whole purpose in this podcast.
Yeah, you want to come shoot the shit, you're more than welcome to.
That's right.
5 minutes. You can stay as long as you want.
That's right. Yeah. We just spent the last hour talking about something that we're both passionate about.
Yeah. You feel like you need to talk to an adult. We're here too. We're half adults, but we're.
If I have to tell one more adult to use the potty, I'm gonna.
Right.
Biggest word in our house right now is poo.
Poo.
You have to pee? Poo. No, you don't. You have to pee. All right.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
Oh, Daddy's gonna go use the potty. I'll be right back. Yeah. That's where we are.
Yeah.
That's where we are. So. So if you want to be a guest, please feel free to reach out, and we'll see what we can do to get you on here. So I think we're gonna have our first guest next week. Really excited about it. Met a lot of cool people who have some really cool stories to tell. So we'll start getting these people on here and start hearing their stories.
Sounds great.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be really good.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, another good recording, and we'll talk to you on the next one.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
Later.